have students sitting exams, and I am a little bit anxious. I am a little bit on the edge, but with God, all things are possible. And so I will be sharing with you some tips and tricks and just some strategies that you can use to help you be more prepared, to help you be more comfortable in your exams and your exam preparations particularly. So the question I want to start off with is this: when should you prepare for an exam? When should you be preparing for an exam? Is it well before? Is it the week before, the day before? In fact, when do you normally prepare for an exam? You can comment in the chat. When do you normally prepare for an exam? Or when do you think you should prepare for an exam? I know we're a couple of days away. All right, so Sharifa says well before. All right. Well before, okay. Everybody's saying well before. Months before, Gianna, thank you for responding. All right, so I have some options. I have well before, I have the week before, the day before. Now, I know it sounds all well and good to say well before and months before, but let us be reasonable and honest with ourselves. When do you normally prepare for your exams? I know some of us, we are not doing exams for the first time. Yes? Some of us may not be doing exams. I'm talking external exams now. All right, but some of us, we have done exams before. And Natanya, honestly admitting that, boy, sometimes it's the week before, Yes, Gianna, to be honest. No, anybody the day before? Anybody studied the day before? Raise your hand. I'm raising my hand. I think I've been guilty of that some years ago. The day before, you're like, oh my God, I have to, let me do this, and you're scampering all over the place. And the truth is, we have done it, but ideally, we want to be studying, we want to be preparing ourselves well before. Now, the truth is, exams are at our heels. They are literally at our doorstep. So what am I going to do? Am I going to get flustered now? Am I going to? No. So what should we be doing? Now, firstly, students, we want to believe in ourselves. Now, in terms of believing ourselves, we're going to be talking about a little about developing a positive mindset. That is very important. Now, you might be saying, I never come here to hear about mindsets. But the truth is, students, as Marcus Garvey said, without confidence, what? Somebody finish it for me. Without confidence, can anybody finish it in the chat for me? Without confidence, you are twice defeated. And so it's very important that you develop a positive mindset. Now, a part of developing a positive mindset is talking positively to ourselves. I am capable. I am enough. I can do this. Now, the truth is negativity will come because, of course, we are not perfect, but we don't want to be dwelling on these things. And so we want to develop a positive mindset. So I'm going to play this song. I really, really like the chorus to get us into, that frame of mind that, to sort of boost our confidence. It has been said that if you believe you can't, you are right. If you believe you can, you're also right. And so we want to ensure that we're going into those exams confidence. be confident, be courageous. And of course, it is most importantly, you want to ensure that you believe in yourself. You have to believe that you can actually do it. Now, the other thing I want you to do as you prepare is to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses. Also, setting realistic goals. Right, so you want to set realistic goals. How am I going to get from point A to point B? What will it take for me to get from point A to point B? Now, hold on. All right, okay. Sorry, my screen froze a while ago. Now, the other thing I want you to start doing, if you have not been doing so, is to start talking with your teachers. Schedule a time, if it is possible, to speak to them so that they can assist you in the preparation process. Now, you also want to be prepared when you go to your teachers. Be prepared to show them what you have already been studying. And also you want to be presenting your study plan for your exam. How do you plan to get from point A to point B? Now, it is at this stage where we're almost there. And so you want to start asking for clarifications. Maybe you did not get a concept well. Now, it is time to look back on those. It is time to look back on those old tests and exam papers that you got and to see where you went wrong and how much you can improve. And it's all a part of knowing your strengths and your weaknesses so that you can improve on those weaknesses and improve on your strengths as well. There's always room for improvement. And so my other tip to you, students, is to study smart, not hard. All right. Now, I know we probably grew up and hear, oh, study hard, study a book, study hard. How many of you have heard that? Give me a reaction if you have heard that before. Study hard. You have heard that so many times. Study hard, study hard. Yes, no? All right, so Sharifa said yes. She gave me a reaction. Anybody else? I don't know if I'm able to see the reactions. All right, yes, Giovanni gave a thumbs up. No, I'm here to say to you, study smart, not hard. Now, why do I say this to you? You want to put yourself in a position where you don't stress out yourself too much. Now, of course, you're going to be using, as I said, use your past papers, use your homework, discuss aloud, discuss with your classmate, call up a classmate and said, Miss did this topic or that topic before, and you can have a discussion around it. Now, you want to also have your flashcard. How many persons have flashcard? If you're so inclined, go for those flashcards. I want somebody to show me their flashcard. Anybody have flashcards so far? Give me a reaction in the chat. You have. All right. Gianna says she has a lot. All right. Anybody else? Good, Gianna. Gianna is on the ball. Gianna is ready to ace those exams. Big up yourself, Gianna. All right. Now, also another effective tool that you can use is your graphic organizers. So you can use it to help you remember concepts. You can use it to help with your formulas and so on. Now, concept mapping. Anybody know what a concept map is? Anybody know what a concept map is? So usually, there are a variety of them, but the basic ones will have the main idea in the middle, and then the supporting ideas going around like that. So it's basically, helps you to remember concepts and to break down concepts into smaller pieces. Now you want to be using your quizzes, your chapter texts. They don't want to take those things for granted. Your textbook may have a lot of tests. They may have a lot of questions to help you prepare for your exams. And so you want to maximize all of those. Now, the other thing too, you want to review all the tests, as I said before, and also teach your friend. Teach a friend, call a friend up and teach them a concept that you learned. Now, what should you be doing the week of exam? So we're now at the week of exam. Now, as I said before, study smart, not hard. So you don't just want to sit there and just reading and trying to remember everything that you read. Absolutely not. Now, you want to reproduce the material that you're reading, recreate. Now, I want you to look on this carefully for me. Let me go back to it. Now, there are two types of studying. You have the passive studying and the active studying. Now, if you look at the passive part of it, passively, when we study passively, we probably just sit and listen to the teacher or listen to a lecture, maybe something that was pre-recorded, or we just sit and read, or we probably watch an audio visual. You know, you can go on YouTube and just listen to things these days. That is very passive, because the truth is, students, you're just sitting there, you're just listening, you're just absorbing, you're just reading. You're not really doing anything with your hands. You're not doing any form of demonstration or discussion. You're being the receiver. Now, what if you become a more active study and use the more active study strategies here? For example, demonstration. So you can demonstrate to your friend how to do that math problem. You can engage in group discussions. And of course, you can practice. Practice by doing. So not just sitting there and just reading. So you have to get beyond just sitting and reading notes and trying to remember everything in your textbook or in your notebook. Now, the other thing you want to do is to teach others. Yes, teach others, very important. Now, it is said that interactive learning can explode long-term retention. Now, you don't want to be cramming. I know a lot of us have crammed before. So we're trying to, the night before, to cram. And by doing so, we're just there reading. We don't want to be you don't want to be doing that. Now, don't just know formulas. For example, I know some of us, or most of us, would probably be sitting mathematics. It's not enough to just know the formulas, but you want to practice to use them and, again, teach others to do the same. So the more you teach others, the more you demonstrate, the more you discuss, then guess what's going to happen? You're more likely to retain it. All right. Now, the day before exam, we're at the day before exam now. And so you want to prepare physically, and you also want to prepare emotionally. Now, what do I mean by physical preparation? You want to ensure that you maintain, your sleep routine, you follow, you eat right. That's very important. Nutrition is very important. Emotionally, you want to also be prepared. Know your material, practice relaxing, and of course, use positive self-talk. We talked about mindset earlier, having that positive mindset. Now, don't cram. Again, don't cram. Notice I have it there in bold. You want to use this day to assess your learning. What do I know? What do I need to know? Now, again, testing your understanding is very important as you prepare for your exams. Now, caring for your brain and your body is also important. Getting adequate rest, getting adequate self-care in is very important. Now, cramming does not work. It says your cramming does not work. And so you need to sleep for your brain to do its best work. Now, a lot of time persons, we tend to idolize or glamorize burnout. Oh, I was up all night studying. I study all night. I was up. Anybody guilty of that? Anybody guilty of that? Yes. Or we are probably up all night completing an assignment that we get a month or two ago. Yes, Sharifa. But for these final exams, we don't want to be cramming, right? We want to ensure that we get adequate rest. That's the only way the brain will perform at its optimum, at its best. So it says you will perform better if you have good breakfast before your exam. While you eat, take time, of course, take time to review. Now, we are now at examination day. It's now examination day. What should you do during an exam? What should you do during an exam? Now, I want to get some feedback from you before I go through. What are some of the things you normally do during an exam? Or what are some of the things you should be doing during an exam? So it's examination day now. It's May 5th or May 6th, May 7th. And it's time for exam and you're sitting right there. So Sharifa said, make a note of the time. I guess make a note of the time that she has that exam. Yes, very important. Yes, you need to at least know when to get to the exam. Students, I've seen it over the years where students are to come in the morning for an exam and they turn up in the afternoon. All right, Andreen says, try to answer question at good time rate. Read through the paper. Wow. We have some really bright students here this evening. Read through the paper, very good. Try to answer the questions at a good, yes, I read that already. Read through the paper. Very good answers. Hold on. So somebody spoke about time, the importance of using the time wisely, answer questions strategically and thoroughly is important. Manage test anxiety. Now, I know some of us, including myself, we have a lot of anxiety when it comes on to test our exams. So I want to be able to manage those anxiety. And one of the best ways to do that is simply to be prepared. So let's talk about exam time and using it wisely. So you want to prepare your materials before the exams. Now, I've seen it over the years. So students running to the staff room, Miss, you have any calculator? Miss, you have any graph leaf? Anybody is guilty of that? Anybody is guilty of that? Miss, you have any pencil? No, we don't want to be running around on the day of the exam. We have to get ourselves organized. Prepare materials before the exam. So if it's a calculator you need, if it's pencil, if it's scrap paper, whatever it is that you need. If it's art and you need your color pencil, get everything ready. Now, as soon as the exam starts, do a memory dump. What do I mean by that? Now, I know most of us are on social media, and recently I see a lot of persons doing photo dump. So what do I mean by a memory dump? Anybody? Anybody wants to try? Andreen, what you think a memory dump is? You can comment in the chat or you can turn on your mic. Memory dump. I want you to hashtag memory dump in the chat. Hashtag memory dump. Do a memory dump. All right. So Atkins says, recall everything done so far. All right. Good. So how are you going to do that? So somebody said, try to clean your brain of doing what you were doing. All right. But no, we're on it's the day of exam, you know. So could it mean that once you open the question paper and you read the question, I am thinking that you would want to start jotting down, just start putting down some things that you know about the question. Just put them there on the paper. The paper is yours. You paid your money for exam. Nobody's charging you. Just write whatever. Remember what? Yes, Gianna says, remember what you have studied. So whatever you have studied and you see a question that points to that, you just jot it down. Yes, whatever it is, just jot it down. You can put it at the side. You can put it around the back, anywhere. It's your paper, your exam, you paid for that exam. All right, read instructions carefully. Sounds so basic, but it's so important. Quickly scan the test and plan how you will use the allotted time. So if you have a question that is worth 30 marks, you want to plan your time so that you allot more time to this question, to the 30 marks question, and less time to a 20 marks question. But the 30 mark question really requires that you do more or you write more. Plan to finish early so you have time to review. Review. It is so important that you review. All right, let me go to the next. During the exam, redirections, calmly scan the entire paper, use the time wisely, jot idea starters, answer easy questions first. If you panic or go blank, you just put your head on the desk and say, I can't bother. I can't bother, I'm feel already. No, you're going to stop, you're going to relax, and you're going to say, listen, I'm unstoppable. I am confident, I got this. You're going to say, Sharifa, I got this. Giovanni, I got this. Comment, I got this in the chat. Russell, I got this. Nettleford, you got this. Krishan, you got this. Kiara, Faith, Gabrielle, let me tell you, man, you got this. So just stop and relax and go again. Try to answer every question. Try to answer every single question. And of course, you want to do so in a timely manner so that you can, of course, finish on time. Yes, Gianna, I love the vibe in the chat. I got this, I got this. Indeed, as we spoke earlier about the positive mindset, yes, students, you have to speak it into being. I got this, I'm unstoppable, I'm confident, I'm a winner. Now, answering essay questions, I have some tips for you. Budget your exam time. Actively read the entire question, of course. Develop your outline before you start writing. Don't get panic and just start writing. No, plan, try to plan it. Write your answers concisely, organize your answers, and know the key task in the question. What is this question asking me to do? Now, a lot of time the question is asking you to just identify something, for example, but you there giving a whole long details. No, that is not necessary. Now, these are some tips in answering short answer questions. There's a reason why it says short. Amen. There's a reason. There's a reason why it says short. So you want to keep your answers short and to the point. Use the marks allotted to guide you. So if the question says, describe the digestive system. Just for argument's sake. Now, of course, it requires that you be concise. You don't need to tell the history of digestion and all of that. Just tell us, just give a brief description of the digestive system. And of course, you're going to use the marks to help you in deciding how much you will write. Do not restate the question. I've seen this a lot of times where students simply, restating the question, try as if they're trying to find words. No, just get to the point. Get to the point. All right. Now, what happens if what you studied did not come on the test or did not come on the exam? So you sat there and you revise and you revise and you revise, but what you studied did not come on the exam in the way that you studied it. Now, if that happens, one of the things you can do is to try to use the information to create something new. And so this is something you can actually do while you're studying as well. So you read something, you practice a math question, for example. You want to practice that question in different ways. You want to try to find all the different past paper questions that centers around that topic, so that you have a wide knowledge, or you have a wide or different ways of addressing that particular problem. And so that is why it's important for you not just to try and memorize, but you should be able to play with the information. You should be able to criticize the information, make judgments, criticize, test, evaluate. You should be able to apply the knowledge. So for example, for social studies, you might learn about social issues. But maybe the social issue that you study, that's not the one that came on the exam. So you spend your whole time and you study child abuse, and you studied migration. or you studied unemployment, but none of those come, but a social issue came. Now you should be able to use the information in a different way. You should be able to say, okay, then I studied unemployment, but crime came. Is there a relationship with crime and unemployment? What are the causes of crime? Can I pull any information from one topic to the next? And so that is why you can't just memorize and cram. So you want to be able to apply, and CXC and CAPE may mark a lot for how you are able to apply, how you're able to use the information that you already know in a new way or similar way. And so you need to ensure that you understand, not cram, not trying to memorize, but you need to ensure that you understand the material, ensure that you're able to make sense out of the information. Interpret. All right. Now I have some multiple choice questions tips for you. The first one is taking advantage of cues. Look at the suspect words. You know those suspect words in the question? Except. All of the following are factors that contribute to X and Y, except. So you want to be mindful of those. You want to be reading those questions twice. RTQ2, RTQ2 basically means read the question twice. And it's very useful, especially multiple choice tests. And this will help you to avoid making silly mistakes when the answer is known but given incorrectly due to you rushing and misreading the question. Now you also want to review surrounding answers. Look at the surrounding answers. Predict answers before reviewing choices. So you read a question and you try to think of the answer even before looking at the actual options that are there. Now, these are just some symptoms of, you know, test or exam anxieties that you may have. There might be a headache, there might be hyperventilation, there might be muscle cramp and all of those things. But as I said before, you got this. So what are the strategies to deal with these anxiety? Breathe. I cannot underestimate the power of simply breathing. Stretch, sit well, create positive mental messages, and keep your confidence high. High confidence. Practice taking your exams before. Yes. Some of us, we do take this for granted, but it's very important. Get a past paper and sit, time yourself, turn on your timer, and practice. So you want to sit at the table with your blank page and your questions and just try to answer it. And of course, I want to remind you that you got this. Yes, try a power pose, create a playlist, psych up yourself, do positive self-talk. And you want to arrive so that you can take time, to relax. The truth is, a positive attitude goes a long way. So try a power pose I wish I was face to face so I could see some of you doing your power pose. I don't know what your power pose is, right? But try and, do something to lively up yourself as you prepare for your exam. And again, remember, you got this. It was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have any questions, you can pose those in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody.
Hello, hello. Everyone is hearing me? Everyone hearing me?
Yes, I am.
Great. Okay. I think Michelle has someone to do the. If not, then I can. Is there anyone who is doing the vote of thanks? Oh, just before the vote of thanks, I'm so sorry. Is there any questions from the students? You can post in the chat, or you have the ability to unmute right now, so you can do so. So go ahead and ask the question. I'm sure you all have questions, right? Give you about a minute if there is any questions. If after a minute there is no questions, then we can just move on. Okay. I'm assuming there are no questions. Oh, there we go. Amani has a question, Denise.
All right, so Amani says, what would be the most appropriate study technique? All right, so Hamani, the most appropriate study technique, and I'm going to speak from my experience, is adopting an active approach to studying. And by that I mean practice by doing, teaching others. As I said in the presentation, you want to ensure that you are not a passive you're not passively studying, sorry, but you are using a technique that will actually help you to remember, that will cater to long-term retention of what you studied. So actively being present, demonstrating, engaging with the notes, ensure that you're highlighting, you get your highlighters, but be present, be in the moment, and just be active. So the active technique to studying is the one I really promote. Now, I'm not underestimating just sitting and reading or sitting and listening to an audio, but of course, greater retention is possible when you actually practice. So for example, when I was preparing to write essays, I would literally sit and write some essays. I would try and have discussions, with other classmates. And by being active, I found that I was able to remember better or remember more. So I didn't just memorize. So don't try to be memorizing everything. Try to understand by being or by using an active approach to studying.
Okay. Thank you so much, Denise. The person who is going to do the vote of thanks, you can go ahead. I think it's Sharifa Perkins.
Excuse me, Daniel.
Yes, Mish.
There's another question in the chat.
Oh, there is. Just scroll. Oh, would practicing. Oh, here we go. There's another question again,
Okay.
Denise.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Practicing past papers and reviewing the answers do help. But of course, you want to ensure that you are practicing along with the answers that are provided. So I know sometimes CXC sends out rubrics and so on. So I'm not sure how close some of you may be with your teachers, but you can ask your teachers for those answers and you can review them. So what I would suggest that you do though is practice the past paper questions first, and then you could probably ask your teacher, Miss, do you have this year answers for this question? And then you can compare it with the answers that you already have to see how much you're matching up to CXC and CAPE standards.
Okay, great. Krishan has a question. Excuse me. What if you're, oh,
Okay, so she said, what if your attention span is not great and the simplest thing distract you, or you just lose interest in what you're studying? All right, so let me start with the first part. What if your attention span is, is not good or is not great and you're easily distracted? So the first thing you have to identify is what are the things that are distracting you. Is it my phone? Is it my environment? Is it my little sister? Is it my annoying little brother that is always coming to distract me? Or is it just a personal thing? Why am I distracted? Right? Yes, I do know that some of us have short attention span like myself. And so what I would suggest is that you block times to study. So you say, all right, then I'm gonna do 30 minutes and you do your 30 minutes, or I'm gonna do 20 minutes and you break, do whatever you want to do something fun and you go back. So if you have attention span, short attention span, do block studying, block out times, do study in blocks. You can do 20 minutes, you can do 10 minutes. A good 5 minutes practicing a question is fine. But if you have short attention span, you want to block the time, and then you want to ensure that you consistently follow up on the times that you have blocked. So you don't want to block 20, say, okay, I'm going to be studying for 20-minute blocks today, and you do 20 minutes and you don't do any for the rest of the day. Now, the other part of the question is, or you just lose interest in what you are studying. Now, the truth is, some of us might be doing subjects that we're not so interested in, or maybe you're in sixth form and they're insisting that you do Caribbean studies and home studies, and you don't like Caribbean studies and you don't like home studies, or you don't have the interest, or you just don't have the interest, as you said. No, the fact of the matter is, students, to whom much is given, much is expected. And your parents would have sacrificed a lot. Your parents have a lot of expectations of you. And so I want to say to you, remember your why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing these exams? What is the end result of doing these exams? And you try to assess yourself and look at your why. I need to get into university so that I can change the trajectory of my bloodline or of my generation. So think about that big thing that you want to become and develop a positive mindset. Develop the mindset, the go-getter mindset that, yes, I don't like it, I don't have any interest in it, but I need to do this so that I can make my family proud, and so that you can also make Grace and Staff Foundation proud. I mean, they are pouring out a lot to assist you, and so think about your why. All right. Because the truth is, students, not everything you're going to like in this life. Some of you, when you start to work, you might not even like your boss, but you have a why, don't you? Have bills to pay, for example. So just sit, assess your why, and say, listen, I got to do this regardless.